Good to go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Canadian Diamond Awards Seniors Connect. So, in front of me, I have a snare drum. What we're going to be doing today is going to be learning how to take off and put back on the heads as well as the snare wires at the bottom. All right, so let me start off by taking off the top end.
Is that the tuning? Is that the way it's tuned? Okay.
Yes. So this is the way we're going to be tuning the drum, as well as just doing a quick little cleanup.
That's good.
Because there's stick shavings that get caught in between the hoop and the drum head. So we'll just clean that up real quick. All right, so remember this time we're going counterclockwise to loosen each drum tension rod. And remember, you want to go with the star formation. So whichever tension rod I go for the opposite one. Go on until all of the tension rods are loosened off of the drum hoop. At this point, it's not sounding much like a snare drum. It's almost sounding like a floor tom or something very low sounding. So once we have taken off all of the tension rods, or loosened all the tension rods, sorry, we can go ahead and loosen the rest of the tension rods with our fingers, just to make things go a little bit quicker. Or you can have two drum keys, which I don't. Today I only have one. All right, we're almost there. As you can see, we've taken off the drum hoop. All right, and if we did have a new drum head, we just simply swap it out. But because we don't, we'll just put the same one back on, and it's in good condition, so it's good to go back on. Right? If you get a closer look, you can see some drumstick shavings from the years of playing the drums. So what we can do with that, take a little cloth or old t-shirt, and we just clean around the drum head. Much better. All right, so with that, we can clean the hoop and as well as the drum shell, which is this wooden piece here. All right, so this the edge of the drum shell. Let's give it a quick wipe. Make sure there's no dust or any stick shavings left over. Alright, so we can put the drum head back on. Once the drum head is on, we can clean off the hoop and put the hoop back on. So before we start tightening the drum head back up with the drum key, what we want to do is get every tension rod back into each slot or lug. And go ahead and finger tighten each tension rod to make sure that the head is on secure enough, not tight to play, but secure enough to have an even tension around the whole drum. All right, now that we have every tension rod finger tightened, we can go ahead with our key and start to make turns around the drum. All right, so we'll do one full turn for each tension rod. Remember, clockwise to tune it up. And we're gonna go in a star formation to make sure that each tension rod is, oops, all right, so we're getting somewhere. We'll give it a few more turns just to really bring in the snare sound. I apologize. All right, I believe we're there. Sounds pretty good. So, with that knowledge that you have of taking off the drum head, putting it back on and tuning it, you can pretty much tune a bass drum, a tom-tom, and small other percussion drums. But with the snare drum, it has a unique way of tuning because of the bottom head. And I'll show you in a second. So at the bottom of the snare drum, as you can see, there are some snare wires. And we talked about if we have those on, you get the bongo sound. If you have them on, you get the snare sound again. So I'll just show you how to replace it or change it or anything you want to do. I'll just show you right now. So first you want to start off with loosening the snare wires. So on both sides of the snare drum, you'll have on the throw-off side and the snare strainer side, strainer or holder. You can loosen these tension rods here, the little tension rods, to take off the wires on both sides. As you can see, there's the snare wires. All right, we're just gonna put that to the side for now when we work with the drum head. All right, so we have the same concept as the top head, but we want to make sure that when we are putting back on this bottom head, we have the correct angle for the snare drum hoop for the bottom head, because there are going to be two slots where the snare wires will be going through. And you want to make sure that they're on the correct side of the snare drum. So exactly what I was talking about just a while ago. If you can see that there's an open slot in this hoop on this side, as well as this side. That's where your snare wires will be going through. Well, let's just put this to the side for now. Again, like the top head, for the bottom head, let's give it a little clean around the edge. You do want to be very careful with the bottom head though, for the snare drum specifically, because it's not as thick in plies as the top head. This is only a single ply. All right, now that we have our snare drum head cleaned, let's now clean the edge of the hoop. All right, put the snare drum head back on. And let's clean the drum hoop. All right, so let's be very careful when we're putting the hoop back on, just to make sure that the open slots are on the correct side. All right, so we have every tension rod finger tightened. All right, so now we can go around and tighten the bottom head. So what I'm doing here, I'm just getting a tone from each tension rod, just to make sure that they're even in tone. All right, so we have our snare drum bottom head tuned up. So now we can go ahead and put our snare wires back in. There you have it. Your snare drum is back to playing function. All right, let's give it a little sample. There you have it. That's how you tune a snare drum.
Well done. It looks like it sounds better than it was before.
Well, I would hope so. Got some of that dirt off of it, so probably sounding much better now.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes, yes. So, again, what we were talking about for lesson 1, we had gone over some rudiments. All right, so rudiments, basic ways to warm up your hands, you know, but it's also very effective when it comes into going around the drum to feel comfortable. In drum terminology, it's called fills or chops. You're able to be very versatile and fluid around the drums if you practice your rudiments. All right, so before we get practicing, we want to stretch. All right, so let's stretch our arms. So how we can do this, you can take the stick like this, flip it, and pull down. Pull down on the other end where your hand is normal, this hand. And we'll stretch our forearms, right, stretch, other side, all right. Just doing it really quickly, but if you can do this a minute or two before practicing, it will help, all right. And what we're gonna do next is put the sticks together like so, get some blood flowing. Arms so we can avoid cramping. All right. This technique was shown to me and many others by a drummer by the name of Tony Royster Jr. Amazing, from the United States of America. Great guy. He has worked with Jay-Z and so many other artists. All right. So we're gonna work on paradiddles, all right? I know we talked about it briefly on the other lesson, but we can go a little bit further into it today. So the paradiddle, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'll just show you. Right, left, left, right, left, right, 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 left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That's the paradiddle. And we can speed it up and have it sounding like this. It's been a while. But that's the beauty of the rudiments. You're able to exercise your hands and get them going with the independence. All right, so let's give this a try behind the drum set. All right, so we're behind the drum set. We're gonna give it a go on the snare drum first, and then we'll go into a groove, and we'll just implement the paradiddle. So that's just a bit of paradiddle within a groove. All right? So let's just add a little bit of fun. Let's get the metronome going.
Yep.
Let's do this. Busting up a sweat here. Again, we talk about drumming being cardio all the time, which is a great way to get the heart rate going.
Yep.
All right, so that was just a little bit of the paradiddle within a groove, and as well, just a little bit of fills and having fun around the metronome, which you should always do. As a musician, drummer, singer, anybody within music, a metronome should be your friend. All right, so I don't know if we have any questions from anybody, but you know, we have so many different things that we can show you on the drums, which also can be maintenance within, whether it be cleaning the cymbals, you know, or we could go through head selections, we could go through drumstick selections, or even drum set selections. You know, my personal favorite when it comes to drum heads is Remo. Remo drum heads are great. They're a company, I believe, based out of America, and they're very versatile. They've been king of the drum heads for decades now, and I love them. If you actually can see on one of the drum heads in the front of the bass drum, you can see that there's the drum heads are made by Remo. All these pearl drum heads made by Remo. And the sticks that I am using right now, I'm using the Vic Firth Extreme 5A American Classics. This one specifically, this stick, is the Extreme 5A N, the N standing for nylon, which is the tip. The tip is made from nylon, right? It's a little bit more easy on the ears when it comes to tapping the cymbals. Like it works well versus the wood. A little bit harsher. If you were closer to the drums, you'd be able to hear. But yeah, there's so many ways that you can even express yourself, whether it be genres, whether it be time signatures, whether it be even just the setup. You know, we could set up a drum set with just the bass drum and snare drum, or we could set up a drum set with 5 tom-toms, 3 snare drums, 5 different crashes, 2 rides, 2 hi-hats. You know, the possibilities are endless when it comes to drums and setting it up and all of that. Why? Because it's an extension of who you are. I believe that playing the drums, or playing any instrument at that, is an extension of who you are as a person. So if you are a person that loves to bring joy, a lot of times your playing is probably going to do that for people, right? So one thing I always say is stay authentic to you. You know, we're all given the ability to have an individual spirit. So let's use that and run with it, you know? I don't think there's many carbon copies out here. You know, I think there's only one Daniel Genus until I have a son and call him Junior. But yeah, so it's just very important to just enjoy this. Enjoy it, love it, you know, and express yourself. It's the only way to reach people, you know. It's the only way to reach people through this instrument.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I've listened to you, and yeah, I'm going to have a chat with you on a couple of things.
For sure.
Yeah. And first, I want to focus on the stick.
Yes.
You did talk about the stick you're using.
Yes.
What is the difference between that and these ones?
So,
this one is made in Canada.
yes. These are made in America.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, okay, these are 2nd grade sticks. I'm not too familiar with this company, but what we can focus on is, if you see right here,
It's called 5A here.
right? So that's the size of the stick, right? As you can see here, we have another 5A, but it's 5AN. And why that is 5AN is because the N stands for nylon, which represents the tip, right? And if you see before 5A here, you see extreme. So with these sticks, you get a little bit more length than the traditional 5A. If you can see, if you line them up here,
Yeah, can see that.
just get a little bit more, yeah. Just a little bit longer, just for extra reach and extra like power behind the stick.
Right.
Yeah, so I was getting into different types of sticks, and this is also another one that is great. It doesn't look like the traditional stick.
So this is for drumming as well?
Yes, so it's for quiet drumming.
Oh.
In quiet areas, let's say if you're in an apartment and you need to practice, you can always pull these out, and your neighbor shouldn't complain.
Or it won't sound as loud?
No, not as loud.
Right.
Go ahead, you can give it a try. Right? It's not as solid.
Yes.
It's not as solid as the traditional stick. And why that is because it's many sticks banded together, many little skinny sticks banded together.
Yeah.
And we call these the hot rods.
The what?
Hot
Hot rod.
rods, correct. Right. So yeah, these are great for low volume hitting, you know. Much more of a difference when you are striking the drum. So that's when it comes down to sticks, that's what you can get into. And they also have 5B. So I know there's a 5A, there's a 5B, there's also a 7A. So now with 7A, it's much slimmer than the traditional 5A or the 5B. or even a tubi, which tubi also gets into marching band drumsticks.
Right.
The sizes of those drumsticks that they have, right? And there's so many companies that make sticks at this point. There's too many to count.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any reason why a beginner should prefer a particular stick, or should use a particular stick?
I would say if you are a younger drummer, let's say between the ages of 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, the heavier sticks might do a little bit of damage at a younger age. But if you get into like lighter sticks, like I was explaining, the 7As, or even they have junior sticks where they're not as long as the regular sticks. Those would be considered good for children.
Okay.
But when it comes to adults, we built so much muscle over the years. I think we can use almost anything that works with our hands. It's not so much that you should be using this or this, but it's more of how do you feel while you're using this.
Right. So it's not like a particular stick is going to help a beginner to learn better.
No,
It's just a case of choice.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The drumming comes from within.
Yeah, I was going to ask you those personal questions. What made you, or how did you know you can drum?
Well, I never knew I could drum until I was about 15.
Right.
I always loved it. I grew up in church, sat beside the drummer, would always want to learn and go on, but I wasn't gifted that opportunity until later on. And I was at a local church in Brampton, and I was helping them out in their evening services, and I was like, wait, I'm doing this. I can play the drums. Right? So it kind of just comes, especially my older brother, he was a drummer as well. So I was able to just kind of just sit there and just watch until I got the opportunity to actually go behind the drums and play them and, have a feel for myself. Mm-hmm. But it's a God-given thing. It's
you sounded like nobody formally taught you to play.
No, honestly, like I said, just watching different drummers, whether it be at a church concert or, different things like church services or conventions, I would sit and watch, ask questions. And then, like I was saying, my brother was a drummer. He was gifted a drum set, but he had no interest for it.
Wow.
So I decided, okay, let me try it.
There you go.
And was able to actually be like, okay, this is how it feels to be behind the drum set. Yeah, so it was cool. It was very cool.
So when you started, how did you get better and better? Did you at any point have to get someone to teach you, or it just you practicing and getting better?
So I would say it was really mostly practicing. Like the amount of practicing would be considered ungodly, because I would skip some of my classes in high school to go home and practice. And it's not good. Children, if you have class, go to your classes, please. Don't follow my footsteps in that regard. But I think because I had such a passion, I just always had a drive to say, man, I need to get better. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that I wanted to get better, but it's almost as if I needed to get better, for my own sake. But yeah, I also met up with a few drummers within the city of Toronto, really great guys. Some of the guys go by the name of Larnell Lewis, Otis Williams, Adrian Bent, and Jonathan Kerr. Those guys, were great mentors, standing off to the sidelines and just watching and giving advice where they saw it fit. Yeah, right. So it's.
So, who have you played with in your career as a drummer?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your progression.
So, I've played with many gospel artists as well with secular artists. Gospel, I've played for artists such as Ryan Ofe, I've played for Campus Rush Music. I've played for Londa Lyman before. I've played for Sharon Riley and the Faith Chorale before. I've also played for Amoy Levy, God rest her soul. Who else? Timothy Figueroa from New York. And secular, I've played for Sean Desmond, Aquila, Relis K, who was Lavish. Some people that are connected with some well-known artists in the music industry. So yeah, that's what I've done so far.
So when you say you've played with them or for them, how do you decide what to play?
Okay, so what will typically happen is, okay, hey Daniel, are you available this day?
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Usually we'll get an email with all of the band members and the artist, and we'll get the list of songs that are going to be played. And whether we have a rehearsal or not, we'll come up with arrangements. So the song will already have an arrangement of how it goes, and patterns and syncopations. And these are words that you're probably like, what are you saying, bro? But they're just, it's just ways, okay, so for example, a syncopation could be, right? That's a syncopation. Or you can change the syncopation to go, right? It almost fits in the same slot, but just not as many hits, or it could be more hits, you know? So that's what I mean by that. So what to play, what I decide to play is what I find is most effective when I'm listening to music. So if we're in a song that the pattern is, you know, for the most of the song, that's how the beat goes. At the end, I might want to give them a little bit more oomph to dance to, so I might add in 4 on the floor. Just to add in a little bit of more flair or flavor to what's already being presented for me to play. So yeah, it's really just depending on the vibe of the artist and the music director on what I should play, and apart from them two, I decide, hey, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's amazing, because we see a lot of nice songs and productions. Sometimes I wonder, did the singer decide this is what you're going to play? Or the drummer decides, so you sing, I do the drum, I tell you what fits in.
Right, that's usually how it goes, yeah.
Right.
So everybody is just flowing. Yeah. Everybody knows their job and their parts. Yeah. And you can add in as you please. Because you have the musical maturity, yes, it's trusted that whatever you decide to play will be good and effective.
So is there a scenario where you play what you decide to play and someone is saying, no,
oh yeah, that happens a lot. Oh yeah. Like there could be times where, you know, the groove that I was saying, you know, the music director might be like, bro, stay right there. Don't move an inch from that groove. Right. Right? Yeah. So if I decide to now go, he's gonna be like, buddy, didn't we just talk about this? I said stay right there where you were, not to where you think you should go, right? So it's all about sometimes just knowing to be humble, you know, because you could even say, well, look, I know that if I play this, the whole crowd is gonna be dancing, but it's just knowing to be humble and know that when there's a leader in charge, you take instructions, stick to what the leader says, because at that point you don't know. Maybe him and the music, sorry, not him or her, the music director and the artist could have had a discussion before and said, yeah, in rehearsal he did this, but I would like the drummer to do this instead. I wouldn't even know that's the case. And if I were to now play that, the music director could be in trouble. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
because it's easy to be carried away or get excited. And start to play things, of course, that you think should work. So the music director is the one that says, "Oh no, don't go there."
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yes, yes. So the music director will be, you know, the captain over pretty much everyone, just to make sure that everyone's within, you know, what they're supposed to be doing. And apart from that, if you feel it and it's, you know, if you have the understanding to know, okay, this won't get in the way or this won't take away from anything, then go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a possibility you play something the music director did not think about, and he thinks, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
We need it.
That could happen as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times, he won't even say anything. The music director will just look at you and give you a look and you know, almost like a stink look, like, oh my gosh, man, that's what we needed. You know, so it's really all about who you're working with. I've worked with music directors that say, hey, look, this is how this record is played, and that's how I want to hear it when we're on that stage.
Yeah.
Versus are there music directors that are saying, just loosen up. I called you, I want to hear you. I don't want to hear what the guy produced on the record. I want to hear you, right? So it's all about who you're working with. Okay. You have to know the music director you're working with. That's why, if anything, the best thing to do when you're working or walking into a new situation that you're not familiar with, best to just pull back and be told to give more than to have given everything and not have to pull back.
Right.
You're right. So it's better to just humble yourself and relax, and when you're asked for more, you give more.
Yeah.
And just know who you're working with.
What you describe just seems to relate to an event or a gig or some performance on stage. Does that apply to recording as well?
Recording is different. A lot of times, guys don't understand, and I didn't understand too growing up. Like, when you're recording, it's very, very important to make sure that you're intentional with every hit that you're playing. You're supposed to be like that all the time, but especially for recordings. Why? Because everything is picked up and recorded. And you don't want to give the editor any headaches. Right? When they're playing it back in the studio and listening back, you don't want them to be like, oh my gosh, the drums have to be done over again. That's the worst thing to do. Because at that point, you're taking up people's time, energy, and money. Right? And you don't want to do that. So the best thing to do when it comes to recording is to just play the grooves as solid as you can, and the transitions to different parts. So let's say from chorus to verse, or from chorus to bridge, or outro, intro, just those are standing out, and you know they're brought to life, and then you come back to the groove and stay there, right? There's been a couple situations where I know guys and myself where you're playing on a record, but you don't realize this is not just regular church service anymore. This is actually a record that people are going to be wanting to purchase, and you know. So I had one of the guys that I had mentioned earlier, Jonathan. He had pulled me back to the side and said, "Hey, you did good, but you have to be very aware that you don't get too crazy when you're playing, because this is a record, right?" So it's very important to know when you are playing on a record that it's a record. You know, if you need help with knowing what to play and what to do, there's so many references that you can go back to and, you know, kind of take some ideas and make it your own. But yeah, it's a different thing when you're recording.
But again, like the gig part of things, is the drummer that decides what to play, or is it the director tell what to play, or is it the singer?
It's different for different situations. So you can have a producer for a record that already came up with the drum parts, right? And he's just saying, hey, play something like this, right? If not exactly this, but there's other times where the producer would have probably just been there with a vocalist or the artist and went over the chords and the progressions for the songs, but never came up with a groove and such. So sometimes you'll be placed in a situation where you come up with the drum pattern or the drum part for that song or for the whole entire record, you know. But it takes a lot of patience. You know, it takes a lot of patience to get to that point where, okay, you are you're level-headed enough to be on a record and perform what needs to be performed, and just know that, you know, you're not gonna be deciding to do whatever you want to do. It's very important that,
Right.
you know, like, whatever is being recorded, because sometimes in rehearsals you could play something and that's what everyone is used to you playing, but if you decide the day of the record that you're gonna play something else, it could throw everybody off.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Of
very
course.
important that you are on it, you know,
Of
you're hitting
course.
the nail on the head with that one.
So before recording, how many rehearsals would normally happen?
You could range from maybe about 3 to 7 rehearsals,
Right.
depending. I know of I think most of the Americans, when they do their records, I think they take a week to just rehearse, and then I think the end of the week they record. You know, which I feel like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're with the team, building the chemistry all the way up until the day you record, and you know,
At least if you want to go crazy during rehearsal,
it can be
bring
team.
it out.
Yeah.
And see where you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's better to work, you know. So sometimes there's a case where, okay, it's not gonna be a whole bunch of rehearsals, but you get enough time to learn the material on your own. They can send it to you, and you're on your own learning it and listening to it and practicing to it. And then from there, you go to the rehearsal. Maybe one rehearsal, and then a dress rehearsal, and then the recording.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really just knowing, okay, what you're working with, what you're dealing with, know what you have in front of you, and just do what it takes to get it done. You know?
Fantastic. A lot to know, a lot to understand. Thank you very much.
No problem.
One more question is, you have so much passion to play. Those who wants to play this as amateur, what do you advise them? Not people with your kind of passion, but just want to
just have fun.
have fun, try their hand on this. What would you say?
I would say, I mean, you can always do that. Like, of course, it's just the economy sometimes. If you're gonna be spending almost $500, $600 on, you know, but if you just want to have fun, go right ahead. You know, there's so many ways to even just figure out things on your own. You know, like, while you're playing, you can be like, whoa, I caught myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're probably not even trying. You're just having fun, right? But I would suggest, again, it's great for cardio and it's great for your mental health. It will boost your dopamine, serotonin, all those good hormones, or it will be good for that.
Yeah.
So
Is it just drum or any instrument can do that?
I know for sure drums, music in general, it can definitely boost your mental health, but physical health, I would say, I don't think any other instrument does it like drums.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when it comes to working out or cardio.
True, though. Yeah, I can say that too, because I've just tried playing that and my leg muscle is
You're feeling it, right? Because you're building it.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, I built my shin muscles by taking off that spring and making the pedal not have that ability to come back.
Yeah.
So if I were to hit it, it would stay like that. So what I would have to do is hit it hard enough where it hits, and the rebound would bring it back, right? So that would increase my shin muscles there. And, you know, different little exercises. You know, just to kind of, you know, get familiar with a pedal.
That may need a bit of gym as well.
Yeah. Hey, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of overweight drummers out there, man.
Do some leg exercise.
Oh, some legs.
To build the muscles on the leg for that.
Okay. So you just do leg day just for this.
That's right. Yeah, so when you get here, it will be easy to deal with.
Okay. You hear that?
Yeah.
All right. So we all got to get a gym membership first.
You don't need that. You've achieved yours over the years practicing, but those of us who are simply trying to get involved, we probably need to do more or jog to build the leg muscle. Because I can tell you what I went through trying to do this.
Yeah,
it was a bit of brave heart.
Ah.
I had to encourage myself not to give up.
It's all good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, no
It's
problem.
been fantastic.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining me with us.
Well done.
All right.